What's up guys, welcome back to another video. Today I want to talk a little bit about summer scouting for whitetail, specifically glassing for whitetail. I'm sat down in a field recording this video and I'm about to leave and go do some scouting of my own, but I wanted to touch on a couple of the things that I do while I am driving around looking for summer velvet bucks. First thing is I'm turning my tracker on everywhere that I go. So my Onyx tracker is running in the truck no matter what road I am driving on. That thing is gonna stay running from the time I hit a piece of public ground to the time I leave that same piece of public ground. I wanna know everywhere that I went and correlate that with pins that I'm dropping when I find deer. So what I'm looking for are alfalfa is a big hitter right now here in Iowa, and bean fields. Cornfield transitions where the corn and beans meet each other, and waterways within those big destination egg fields. Deer like to travel in those grassy waterways. They also like to travel against the edges of the beans and the corn. So I'm looking in those areas as I'm driving around glassing. A lot of times the public ground pieces aren't gonna have great glassable areas, so you might need to get out of the truck and hike in order to find spots that's worth glassing. Like I say, focusing on alfalfa as well as beans. If you don't have any of those bigger destination fields in your area, I would be looking at open fields, whether it be grassy fields or wildflower fields. It might be hay fields. Whatever those fields are, you probably need to be glassing there. So look at the outskirts of that standing corn, look at the bean fields, look at the field edges along the timber, look at the waterways going through those big destination egg fields, and you will likely find some big red coat summer velvet bucks hanging out in the fields feeding together. When you do find those bucks, what I'm doing is I'm dropping pins on my Onyx. I want to know exactly how many deer are in the bachelor group. If it's a bachelor group, are they does? If they are does, I'm gonna be marking them as does as well, because later on in the year during the rut, I wanna know where are those does living. Right now is a good indicator of where the does like to hang out and where they like to feed and bed. Now, that feed is going to change throughout the year. Obviously, we have green up right now. We've got a lot of green alfalfa. We've got green soybeans. We've got a lot of stuff that deer are absolutely mowing down right now. Come October, November, obviously that's all gonna change. Things will start to brown up. The feed won't be as palatable to the deer. There's harvest happening, so things are gonna change. But right now I'm trying to figure out what bucks are in the area, who's hanging out with who, and where are they liking to spend most of their time. From what I've found, if you don't pressure these deer and they stay on a regular feeding pattern, you can come back out every other day whenever you've got time to scout and check out the same exact fields, and oftentimes you're gonna find the same deer in those fields. Again, I'm dropping pins on the Onyx maps. Where are these bachelor groups hanging out? I am running, like in the last 2 days, I think I've put 250 miles on. That's how much I'm driving. When I find a bachelor group, I glass them, I mark them on my maps, I take a couple looks at them, see what's going on with the group. I might come back if the group intrigues me towards the evening, but for the most part, I'm putting tire to the road and I'm trying to find deer. Right now is also a great time to find big deer. There are a lot of deer showing themselves in daylight on these bean fields, on the alfalfa fields, that otherwise probably aren't going to show themselves very much during season. It's really, really fun to get out and see deer that are holding a lot of horn on their head and a lot of age. It's not uncommon to glass very big deer this time of year. Mid to late July seems to be that ticket meal where these big deer want to get on their feet and get as much nutrition as they can before the season comes. It's just such an awesome time to get out, drive around, and find big velvet bucks. Another strategy that I've used scouting velvet whitetail is when I'm scouting with a buddy, we'll take separate trucks. He'll drive one road, I'll drive the other road, and we'll meet at the end of the day and compare notes, compare what we saw. A lot of times we like to take cameras with us as well as our binoculars and our spotting scope so that we can document what we're seeing. If you don't have any documentation of what you're seeing, it's very, very hard to remember what class of whitetail that was. Was it an older age class deer? Was it a younger deer? Was he hanging out with other deer? Was he not? Was he solo? All of these things I want to note and jot down and compare notes with my buddy at the end of the day, compare pictures, compare video. What kind of deer are we seeing in what areas, and compile all of that together. A lot of times when it comes around to season, depending on the state, it's hard to put a lot of what we're finding right now into play during the hunting season. Now, if you live in a place like Nebraska that opens on September 1st, you might have some really, really good bets that these deer are feeding in the same bean fields as they were during the summer. If you live in, say, Iowa that opens October 1st, most of the time your big destination egg fields are not going to be as palatable come season for the deer. So what we're learning about the deer right now might not necessarily correlate to when season opens, but it does give you a general vicinity and a general idea of what deer are living in the neighborhood. The neighborhood itself is so important to mature whitetail. Everything that is going on with that neighborhood, whether it be the private land owners, how much pressure the public land gets, how the deer are able to live with the amount of pressure they get, is all a factor of what age class of animal is going to be living in that neighborhood. Now is the time to find them. You can spend the last part of the evenings driving around, eating some sunflower seeds, listening to the radio, and glassing for these big velvet bucks. It is so much fun. Grab the girlfriend, grab the wife, throw her in the passenger seat. She's gonna have a great time looking at them as well. It's just a great time all around. If you're a whitetail fanatic, mid to late July is like Christmas Day every day when you get out and drive around and glass these bucks. Another great reason to get out and glass these fields for whitetail right now is you're gonna find a lot of good places to put trail cameras on the edges of fields. A lot of times these whitetail are walking up and down these fields feeding in the beans, but every now and then you'll see them stop and they'll hit a licking branch. They're not necessarily pawing at the ground, but it's a community licking branch, a scrape that they are coming back to time and time again. When you observe something like that, mark it on your maps. Put a pin down and note that you observed a buck hit a licking branch right here on this edge of the field. Chances are they're going to continue hitting that licking branch throughout the year. It's very, very interesting to me that so many people overlook licking branches, not necessarily scrapes on the ground, but licking branches that deer come back to time and time again throughout the summer months. Those eventually will likely turn into scrapes during the hunting season. That is absolutely something that you can take note of and observe very easily this time of year. Put a pin on your map again, right where that happened, and oftentimes that's going to be an active site come hunting season, or at least something to put a trail camera on. Anyway, that is just a few quick tips on summer scouting big velvet whitetail. If you enjoyed this video, be sure and hit the subscribe button, give this video a like, and if there's something more you want to learn about scouting velvet whitetail, be sure and comment below. Let me know. We'll make another video on this, maybe a part 2 series, but appreciate you guys. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace.